Sarah and Max, an unlikely pair in this wild podcast, they're the perfect flair. Sarah's charm, so feminine and free, a Cali girl spirit under the podcast tree. Max a strong force with a punch in every word. Together they navigate this dating absurd. Don't forget to hit subscribe, join the crew for more laughs and tales just for you. Now back to the show.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Good for Shidduchim. I am your host Sarah Levine, and I have my co-host with me, Max Landisman, as always. And today we're going to be talking about another topic that
in Shidduchim
that's controversial, that people don't like to talk about.
Nice.
But before that, we did want to say that we're excited because next week we are going to be interviewing somebody, so we're very excited about that.
Yeah, she reached out to us, and when we looked into her, what I especially liked was like the first video I saw. She was basically saying basically what we've been saying this whole time, but she says it in a lot more professional way than I would do.
She's very together. She's very put together. She's very educated. She kind of started her own type of dating business on the side, and then I know she was like a professional real estate agent before that, so she has a lot of words of wisdom, so we are excited about that. As always, guys, if you like what you're about to listen to, please like us, subscribe to us anywhere you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast,
even Pandora
Radio,
for like the four people that listen to Pandora, whatever.
And please continue to send us emails to goodforshidduchim@gmail.com. We've gotten some emails. This was good
incredible. So we've gotten some. So one of those was from her. We're not going to name her now, but until afterwards. But we got an email from someone saying, we're hosting a singles event. I'd love for the both of you, meaning me and Sarah, to speak at this event, and of course it will be paid. And so Sarah saw this and is like, Max, do you not check the emails? I'm like, nobody sends us anything, so I just don't check it. She's like, no, like we have like a bunch of messages. Like we had a bunch of messages.
I was like, people actually are listening and people are actually reaching out.
Right.
So now we're really
are on top of it. Yeah.
But unfortunately, that event was canceled.
Unfortunately, so we won't be. But it was still amazing the fact that we were offered a paid speaking event.
Yeah.
I was real excited. I know. I was excited. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, do they know what we say on this?
But I was excited to meet the singles. I was excited to talk with them and try to get them, through the event. I don't know. I thought it would be fun. Oh, well, another opportunity will definitely come to us for sure.
I hope so. Yeah, it'll be definitely fun. But it just goes to show you people are listening to the show.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And it's nice to hear.
Remember when we passed like 1,000 listens and we were like, wow, we had 1,000. Like literally within 2 weeks, up to like 1,500. Like once it passed that 1,000, now it's like.
I honestly don't know what this means.
It means that
1,500
our
people.
episodes were listened to over 1,500 times.
And that's good.
What do you think?
I don't know.
I think it's good. I think good is relative. It's like what it depends what your goals are. If you're Joe Rogan, you get 1,500 listens. That's terrible. For us who are just starting out,
it's pretty good.
And this isn't their job.
Yeah.
I'd say it's pretty good.
Okay, good. Well, we love doing it.
Anything to affect the Shidduchim world.
Right.
We just love doing it. I love doing this.
Yeah, we do love doing it. We set a lot of time aside for it. And I feel like for me, it's kind of like an outlet. So it's nice.
It's great. Yeah. Likewise. Definitely.
But anyways, we did want to talk about our topic for today, which is burnout. Feeling like you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, but at the same time you're getting rejected, people aren't setting you up, or shadchans are just giving you the worst advice ever, or they're telling you terrible things. You're just in the lowest of the low point in your dating life, and I feel like this happens a lot. It did happen to me a lot of the time, but we're here to discuss it and give our thoughts about it.
I'm kind of going through a thing of my own.
Yeah.
Where it's just, it's hard. It's definitely not easy. But you just try to keep a smile on your face. And because it's almost like, like obviously I go through a lot of one and dones, but like finally, like you go out with someone.
Yeah.
And it's like, it went really well. And you scheduled another date.
Yeah.
And everything was set. And then it was kind of called off, not because of you, but from an outside source, meaning I need to work on myself or whatever, so I don't want to continue or anything like that.
That's what she told you?
Basically,
Yeah.
for the most part. I don't want to get into it too much, but I
Right.
do want to give some details as to. So in my mind, it's like literally there's nothing that could possibly happen that I can make it even to date number 2. Or it's like, even if it goes well.
Even if it goes well,
Yeah,
it's like,
'cause-
actually, I spoke to so-and-so and they were like, don't go out with Max.
Well, it wasn't necessarily like just me, but I could take it personally. But
Right.
I would like to think it wasn't personal.
Right.
Like they could have just said, like, I'm just not interested. Like you could have gone that way if you're not, but that's not how they did it.
Right.
But it can get. But thank God if you have a good support system. You baked me some hamantashen, which is very nice. It's too bad I'm fasting right now. But,
I know, it's for breakfast.
it's good for shidduchim,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
So you mentioned in your intro about burnout, and you feel like people aren't setting you up. I'm going to come out again with another sexist thing, which people I don't think it's sexist. I think people think that I would be sexist about this, but that's a very woman thing to say.
What?
That people aren't thinking about me setting me up. And what I mean by that is that when someone sends a guy a bad idea, I'm talking at least for myself, or I would also say a lot of my friends, like they'd rather you not send it, period, than for you to be so off. Okay. For a woman, they're very appreciative. You can tell me if I'm wrong. From all of my experience, from hearing from directly from other women,
yeah,
they love that you're thinking of them. It's not about the match. The match could be completely off.
Right.
But the fact that you're thinking of them, they really like. Yes, there are cases where they're sending someone with no eyes and like they're missing their left limb, whatever it is. And like, yeah, I can see that
okay with
someone being insulted, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'd say most girls, majority of the time, they appreciate that you're thinking of them. I don't, tell me if I'm wrong, but
I think sometimes I guess it depends. Like some women do feel that way, like very appreciative. But then sometimes I will say, even speaking for myself, like somebody sent me an idea and I was actually offended by it. So,
so you're right. I mean, that it does happen.
Go either way.
It does happen, but for the most part, it seems to be that women are more appreciative of like, wow, you're thinking of me, versus a guy who's like, you could send them a bunch of matches, but if they feel they're off, they'd rather you not send them.
Gotcha. So how would a guy feel then? Like, do men feel like, are people thinking about me then? Like, do they have a hesitation of like, are people actually thinking about me? And like, when I'm talking to somebody, are they really keeping me in mind?
It's an interesting question. I'd say probably in the Yeshiva Shavelt with like actual shadchan, who I do know people in that world.
Yeah.
And they kind of like want to stay top of mind with shadchanim and things of that nature.
Uh-huh.
I just don't think they take it as personally as a woman does. Like, like I've seen some women that take it really hard. They take it very personal. I don't understand. I go to this meal and there's all these people, nobody's setting me up. Right. I just don't think guys think, I don't know. Maybe there are guys that think that way. I think the overall majority, they may say like, okay, I would like to be set up. I don't think they take it as hard. Like they don't take it as personal. It's not like a personal thing.
Gotcha. Like it's nice to network, but at the same time, if somebody has an idea, that's great. If not, that's okay. But women sometimes come off as like, well, I'm here. I had a Shabbos meal with them. They said they'd set me up, but it's been a month and nobody's like reached out to me.
I mean, it is a douchebag move if someone says they're going to set you up and it's just like if someone's looking for a job, you say like, I can help you, and you don't do anything.
Right.
That's a problem. But
yeah.
But in general, yeah, like it's almost like there's an expectation, and it would be very nice if people would set people up. But maybe, like I remember speaking about this with a friend, and I said maybe they just don't have anyone for you.
Right.
But it doesn't seem like that's what they care about.
Right.
Like even if and I'm like, would you rather them just send you like someone who's completely off, and they're like, at least that's something. Right. Like at least I completely
is it
disagree.
About quality over quantity?
In my mind, it is always about quality.
I agree. Yeah.
So like
who cares if you get like 50 resumes?
But that's just not what I've been hearing from other women.
Right. Oh,
they feel like they're forgotten about.
Right.
And I understand where they're coming from, but you hear what I'm saying.
Yeah. I will say, going back to like feeling burnt out, it is a terrible feeling, especially when you feel like you've done everything and like you've spoken to who who you're supposed to speak to, and you're doing everything correctly and you're like following the right path, and like it is very difficult to get rejected, like rejection after rejection after rejection. But what I found when that was happening to me, or let's say when there was like a dry spell literally of like 8 months, 9 months of like nothing, not even like a resume, not even a phone call about somebody, like I have gone like almost a very long time, like not even getting anything. And I was thinking like, you know, like those intrusive negative thoughts of like, do people just not want to set me up? Like, am I ugly? Am I not anybody's type? Like, what does this mean about me? And it's so hard to like put it into perspective of like, maybe it's just not my time yet. And to take that time that you have and just treat yourself and be kind to yourself. So there's something that my sister came up with. It's a concept. I was telling Shlomi about this earlier.
Love to hear this.
So when I was in nursing school, it was the worst 15 months of my life.
Really?
Yes. And I would call my sister almost like every single day because either like I did bad at clinical, or I got a 79 on a test, and like you have to get 80s on all of your tests, and like I just missed it by 1 point, and like I was a mess. I was literally terrible.
Shadchan, we're telling you, it was terrible for Shadchan.
Terrible for Shadchan.
Right, of course, naturally.
So my sister always told me, she was like, take 30 minutes for yourself, cry it out, yell, scream, like do whatever you need to do for 30 minutes, and then pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and just pick up where you left off. And I don't mean exactly 30 minutes. I feel like for a person, like when I was going through a hard time, I would be like, okay, this is my 30 minutes. You know, I'm going to treat myself, and I'm going to be kind to myself. And I know I'm not by myself in this area. Maybe I would talk to my friends about it, or I would reach out to a therapist about it. But I would try to be not even positive about the situation, but at least kind to yourself, and like try to think positively, because it isn't you. I know everybody feels that way, and everybody feels just like icky. Like it's an icky feeling. But if you take your 30 minutes and then pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get back on it, then I feel like you come out like just feeling a little bit more refreshed, I guess would be the word. And then you're not like in this like jaded type of mindset, like, oh, been there, done that, oh, just another girl like this, or just another guy like that. Yeah, okay, we went here, we went there. Sometimes I feel like when people are saying like they're taking a break from dating, I think it's honestly like the best thing, because it shows that like you are doing a lot of introspection, you're working on yourself, and you're seeing how you are coming out to other people. So you need to take a little bit of time and realize like, what do I need to reset my ways, or like what do I need for myself? And I like think that like dating is the most, like you're the most selfish you can be during dating, because like you want to make sure you know yourself, and you want somebody for yourself, and you want to, you know, be able to treat the other person with kindness, respect, and everything like that. So like you have to figure out what you want for yourself and then go from there. So if you want to take like a week, even like maybe an hour, and then you get right back on like your next website or whatever, you get back on the app, like just take some time for yourself.
I think all these apps also play into it.
Oh yeah.
Because it's just, there's so much disconnection. If that is that a word? Disconnection. Disconnected.
Yeah, disconnection. Sure.
Whatever. It's my own word. We'll make a t-shirt from it.
Yeah.
Disconnection.
Okay.
But because it's, when you think about it, it's not hard to say no to somebody, but when someone gets said no to by someone they like, it's taken more personal.
Yeah, of course.
So, but when you think about it, it's not on the same level. When someone says no, right? They're not really thinking twice about it. And then when someone takes the no, they take it much harder. In person, I think it's different. Meaning when someone, like even if, you mentioned it 1,000 times already, it's like a guy that asks a girl for her number and the girl doesn't want to give it.
Right.
Most girls feel extremely uncomfortable, whatever. There's like this sense of, it's just different. It's just different, meaning you still have to think about it and you still can't just like shove it in their face. You can do it in a nice way, but there's more thought behind it versus just essentially when you're swiping left, you're essentially just, I don't know. I take it as more like a slap in the face.
Really?
I would say. I mean, like you can't get too caught up in like these online things. I just do think though that it does hurt, meaning I think it affects our psyche more than I think people realize.
The apps?
Yeah.
Like if you swipe right on somebody, or what is it, left? Which way do you swipe?
Oh yeah. Wait, do we even talk about the time that you thought left meant accepting matches and right meant, and then you're like, why am I matching with everyone that I don't like?
Yeah, well,
whatever.
that's what
so
tequila will
funny.
do. Tequila and J swipe. Okay, it's not a good combination.
So it's not good for shidduchim if you're swiping left thinking it's right. And
okay, but I'm saying if you swipe right on somebody and then you know that she doesn't swipe right on you, you'll take it personally, even on an app?
I mean, I would say it differently. I wouldn't just say it that way. Like sometimes, like on Hinge, I would put like a lot of research into it and like pull off my LinkedIn personalization type of messages.
Okay.
Sometimes I would actually gather some information on them and then throw it into like ChatGPT and create like a poem.
Okay.
And so like, but it's only if like someone I really like
Yeah.
or whatever. And then I send it to them. Yeah, I do take it a little bit. If someone just like, if you see like this person is not interested in you, yeah, I do take it a little bit. If you're swiping, it's a little less. All I'm just trying to say is that you're not communicating with people. They're computers.
Right.
Whatever.
I understand.
I think that's
what you're
really where
saying.
I'm coming from.
Yeah. So,
Or yes,
right.
you're being rejected. So like, yeah, you do feel bad about yourself, but you're feeling a lot worse than like, how did we get there? How did they get to know? Like, people are just swiping. They're not thinking twice about it. But all someone sees is like, look at all these people. Now one person said yes to whatever. You could take it really hard. So you could feel really bad about something, but in reality, does that make any sense? Like, I feel like I'm not talking sense, but
I think I understand what you're saying. You're saying that like you actually do put a lot of effort into understanding the person behind the like the women that you're swiping on.
So I guess when you mentioned like, do I take it personally? I guess in that case, I would take it a little bit more personally. But the overall message I'm trying to say is which I guess I wasn't being clear about. I think I'll be extremely clear here.
Okay.
Where if someone literally goes up to someone and calls them ugly in person, you're probably gonna. I'm assuming someone's gonna feel bad about it.
Okay.
Whatever. I mean.
Nobody.
I feel like if someone said that to me, I would just like
put my socks on.
I would then just make fun of that person. But let's say someone comes up to a woman, right? Calls them, you're ugly, you're this or that, whatever. I'm assuming they'd probably not be too happy from that. They'd probably not feel great about themselves.
Right.
Right? But someone took the effort into actually telling them that to their face versus someone who's just going through an app and just swiping left. They're not thinking about it. They're not putting in the effort to like insult someone, embarrass someone or anything like that.
Like, it's just one picture for like 30 seconds.
So all I'm saying though is that the person still feels just as bad. Meaning like people aren't matching with them. So they're taking that as I'm ugly, I'm X, I'm this, whatever it is. So it just, I don't know. I'm just saying in person, someone with that, for the outcome to happen like that, for the result to like feel like that bad,
yeah,
someone would probably have to put an effort to it. And I don't think that if that happens very rarely, maybe if ever.
Yeah.
But with the apps, it's just a natural occurrence. This is what happens. People swipe left.
Right.
So you naturally feel like crap.
Right. Well, what do you think about like how guys should deal with burnout and like your friends dealing with like, feeling really gross and icky when it comes to like being rejected multiple times, or like they haven't had a date in like 6 months and like they feel like they're going out with girls but like these girls are just kind of like really just not at all what they're looking for.
Welcome
but they're
to my
just,
life.
But they're just going through the motions, and they're really trying really hard, but it's just not.
I think it all stems
It's
from
not working.
I think it all stems from a mindset. I think the mindset, and I think this is what benefited me the most, is when you can not just say it, but really believe like this is not in your power, and it's not. It's,
Right.
If someone meets someone, it can happen by, how many stories do we know of that it happens by chance? It just happens to be they were in the same room, whatever it is.
Yeah.
This is not, it's a hard concept, meaning it's simple, but yet difficult.
Right. I mean, you don't know where it's going to come from.
Right. It's kind of like something can be simple, but very difficult to do. So like the concept of climbing Mount Everest is very simple. You climb up. The concept is simple, but to actually do it is very difficult.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Thank you. told me by a therapist many years ago.
Oh, okay. Well,
Which again, I'm very pro therapy. I go all the time.
I know. I'm
And I
also
think-
pro therapy. I
and-
go every week.
I think it's a form of growth, whether you're single or not single. Regardless, I think everyone should be trying to grow anyways. But in general, because these are all like these thoughts that are coming into my head now. Especially now, like I've been feeling pretty bummed out lately also.
Yeah.
But like I do have this core belief, like this is completely not in my control.
Right.
And, you could say that, oh, well, I could just go back to the way I was before and just like go out with anyone and.
Right. Not be happy though.
Right. They're just not good matches and they're just totally not for you. I ultimately think that it's way better to, even if it's 6 months or whatever, to understand like it's not in my control. You can pray for it.
Yeah.
Between you and God, whatever, like, and other than that, I don't think there's anything, there's nothing else. Like,
Right.
have an understanding it's not in your control. And I'm assuming like there are people out there, I'm assuming, like there even crossed my mind as like, well, I ever meet someone. I know I'm relatively young, I'm 30,
Yeah.
whatever, but like to think like it never crossed my mind before is a joke.
Oh my God, of course. Like I'm sure a lot of people feel that way and they're not 30 or they're older or they're younger.
Yeah. And the thing is, like on a positive note from that, I remember like it could change so quickly, like in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Where we share a mutual friend. I believe she was like 34 at the time. And I remember her like telling me, she's like, literally, I just completely given up. And then she met her husband like that month.
That's crazy.
And like you've never heard from her again. Like she was just always with her husband, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, thank God they have a kid.
Yeah.
But it's almost like they never missed a beat. It's almost like, yes, she was single for a long time, but like when you see him now, it's almost like they've been married forever.
Right.
And whatever.
Yeah.
So like it went from, look at me, I'm 34, I'm 42, or I'm X, or whatever.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're alone. You feel like there's just nothing out there. And then literally in a split second.
You don't know where it comes from.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's always like that chance.
Yeah, no, it's a nice story, but I feel like a lot of people, what makes them feel bad actually is the loss of control. I feel like if you can't control it, that's the worst feeling ever, right? Because like you're so in control of everything. You're in control of like from when you wake up, from when you go to sleep, exactly what you do. You're in control of your schedule. So I feel like for some people, especially for me, I was like, this was the hardest thing to like let go and be like, I am just not in control of this. For me, it was like the loss of control was very difficult to kind of let go and kind of get into peace of mind where I don't have that control. I feel like also it's more of like this peripheral noise though that people are so annoying about, like either it's like the age people comment on or where you're from. For me, it was like a lot of my age, and because I'm out of town was like a very negative thing, right? So then you feel like all these negative factors towards you that you can't control. So I can't control my age. I can't control where I was born. I can't control any of that. And these people come at you and almost like, why can't you control all of it, And it's really hard to defend yourself, but you don't even have to defend yourself, but like you have to put up these like barriers a lot. I put up a lot of boundaries when I was dating.
So what do you mean by barrier exactly?
Okay, so where I would put up my boundaries would basically be, you know, when people come up to you and they start asking you questions, basically sometimes it's actually out of just like curiosity. No matter where you are, I feel like sometimes people are just like curious about you. Just it's like human nature. But if I was getting the impression, you know, they were just asking me just to ask me, I would be very upfront with them. And, you know, if they're asking me like, what's your age? Where are you from? Oh, I may know somebody, or I may want to set you up with somebody. I would say to them, I'm not going to answer these questions unless you're serious about setting me up, or this is how you can get in touch with me. Just because I was exhausted by trying to tell people exactly who I am as a person and like all these things about me, and then nothing come out of it. So you exhausted so much energy towards this person, you've told them a lot about you, and then nothing comes from it. So from there, I was like, that's it. Like, I'm just going to put up boundaries, and I'm only going to talk to people that are actually genuinely interested, genuinely want to set me up. And I would just say, like, are you just asking to ask? Are you just curious, or do you actually have somebody in mind for me?
Yeah.
I mean, it came off rude sometimes. People didn't like it, but it was a way to protect myself.
No, I personally, I love it. I think you would be really good at sales, believe it or not, because you're that's what we call qualifying them. You're qualifying them. Like, if you're asking a question, it's like, you know, you're happy to answer the question, but like, what the hell? Why are you asking me this? Who are you?
Right.
And what do you want? Like, as you said, people just bring up stuff randomly. They don't mean it. They don't really want to talk about it. It's like, how old are you? Yeah, they're thinking about it maybe in the direct sense. The second they leave the room, they forget about it. And like, so you just wasted all this time.
But not only that, you're like,
you don't want to give over just every personal bit of information.
Right.
I don't ask like what you're, you know, whatever. I was going to say something probably like really, but I'm going to hold myself back.
Okay.
Because we have a Max 2.0.
I appreciate that, Max.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was going to say, like, it took some time. Obviously, like, I found out, like, going through the motions, like, be it at a kiddish or at a wedding, people would approach me, and it's out of the goodness of their heart, but I hate that. I can't stand it. I just didn't feel good leaving these conversations. Like, I met this person who I don't know from a hole in the wall. They're asking me very personal and very intrusive questions. And like, in our Jewish community, that's okay because I'm single and I'm dating, you know. But for me, that wasn't an excuse. And I thought it was like very intrusive. And I felt at a certain point I had to be like, you know, like, I'm happy to answer these questions, but like, I really only say it to people who are really interested in setting me up or who are genuine and like thinking about me, because I'm not just gonna like just give it away to anybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've come out with my own system.
Okay.
Where, I mean, I hate it when people who I don't know, never met before, what are you looking for? I actually tell them, I'm not looking for anybody. And they're like, what do you mean?
You always say that you're busy.
Yeah. Fine, I can. It depends on the situation,
right?
But like, I don't know who the hell you are, and like, I don't need you to set me up. You know,
right.
I don't care. I don't need to be. You know what I mean? Like,
there's also there's like an uncomfortability. Like, I was so uncomfortable. Like, I felt so like honored. Like, thank you so much. Like, I don't know you from like, I really don't know you from off the street, and you're already like really interested in me. Like, I don't know, buy me a drink first.
No, it's just the way it is. You just feel like a piece of meat, and the way to counteract that is to have an actual conversation with somebody.
Right.
Like, if you see someone, you see someone at kiddish, don't just like, are you single? Do you want to meet someone? Like, I've got 4 million people I can set you up with. Well, that means you suck at setting people up because you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You just have the clearance section in the back, and you just want to send that.
Right.
Whatever it is. Sorry for being rash, but that's just what it is. Just if they could just talk to you for 10 minutes or 5, whatever it is, just to get like, who are you? Where are you from? What are you doing now? Whatever. Mm-hmm. Are you married or single? Whatever. Bring it up later.
Right.
And if you think you can there's a good match or whatever it is, then fine. Then bring it up like, hey, you know, I know someone, I may think it's a good match. Maybe we can connect after showers or something like that, whatever. But like the sole focus is like you're single and that's it.
Right.
It's just stupid.
And I feel like a lot of people feel like you can also get burnt out by talking about yourself, like in these certain situations. And I felt burnout, like I was exhausted talking about myself.
So it's you're 100% right. So I want to get your take on this because I have a different view than probably a lot of my other peers do, which is when people ask me these kinds of things, I don't tell them. I just don't tell them.
Okay.
But there are a lot of people who feel like, well, like I have to do my Hishtadlus and I have to put myself out there and whatever. My response to that is that look at what happens every single time this happens. You get upset or you get mad or because it's just leading to being pissed off.
Right.
And I don't agree that that's called Hishtadlus, to do something that's ultimately going to piss you off or going to make you upset. I don't think there's any mitzvah in the Torah to make you upset. Right. In fact, it's probably the opposite. Right. So in my mind, I think you do what you got to do to protect yourself and to not get burnt out and pissed off. I think it always comes down to the same thing. And it's so hard. I hate to be harsh because I'm in the same boat. Right. But you don't know where it's coming from and you don't have control over it. Right. If you just because someone comes over to you and asks you for personal information, and if you feel like not giving it to them, that somehow that is hurting you in shidduchim or whatever. Yeah. I think it's a horrible way of thinking.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, Max, honestly. Like putting your work into finding your person doesn't mean that you have to be miserable.
100%.
And if it is something that makes you miserable, listen, you can be somebody who is totally okay with this and doesn't feel like people are breaking boundaries. That's great. You keep doing whatever you feel. But like if you are somebody who does feel burnt out this way, I would say that like you don't have to make yourself feel miserable in situations in order to feel like, okay, this is like I'm sacrificing how I feel because I have to do my hashtadless. I have to like make effort into this make effort into finding somebody. Like there's so many other ways to do that I don't think like if this particular way to like talk about details about yourself to like a stranger, and I'm sure it happens like so often that I know like singles are approached all the time, and it gets exhausting. And I feel like you can really help yourself out and not be so burnt out, and like also enjoy where you are. Like you're allowed to enjoy, if you're at a wedding, be at the wedding. If you're at a bar mitzvah, be at the bar mitzvah.
What? You're allowed to enjoy life?
enjoy where you are. And like if somebody comes up to you and like starts getting into the nitty-gritty about yourself, then you can put up a boundary about it.
Yeah, 100%. I can even take it a step further. Yeah. Where, people who do have that mindset, and again, that's up to them. You want to go that route, that's up to you. Mm-hmm. But, they can think it's kind of like that. It's like that joke. It's like somebody is drowning. Yeah. And, there's a helicopter that came with ropes or whatever. Is like, and I'm waiting for God. And then God tells him, he's like, you're an idiot. I sent you all these things. And so like, I feel like people also sometimes they think like every single person, like that's like the life raft, or that's that. And I'm going to push the thought further to kind of push them to their length. Like they feel like
it's a missed opportunity.
Like if they miss it, their life is over. Their life is over.
Yeah, that was it.
And I'll push on that because I know of at least 2 stories on the top of my head where someone made a suggestion, like even through like a shadchan made a suggestion, and it was turned down for whatever reason. Yeah. Or even not through a shadchan. It was brought up at a dinner about, I think this person should date. And someone said, well, this person's an Adel Madel, which is totally not true. Right. And the fact that they said that completely botched the match. Right. But the thing is, in all of these cases, they ended up meeting anyways. Right. I do firmly believe that whoever you're supposed to be with, you'll meet them eventually. I like at least to hope that, yes, I do think like, is there a chance to be... I've thought about like, am I going to be single forever? Who the hell knows? I take the approach of like, I really don't know, but I like to think like there's somebody out there for me.
Yeah.
And, but I'm saying even in those cases where you're quote unquote, you think you're doing your list, and so like if you miss that opportunity, you're done for the rest of your life. I think it's bullcrap.
Yeah.
I think it just, people are putting way too much pressure on themselves.
Yeah.
And I've been told that many times.
Yeah.
I think I do a much better job now as far as that goes, and going to therapy for literally a decade, I think definitely helps. But to be really in tune with yourself.
Exactly.
But I just don't think it helps you anyways. It pisses you off more. And between
Right.
you and I, these people that come up to you at these kiddish things, they're all empty promises.
That's the thing, right? Exactly.
Empty
You
promises.
don't owe them anything, and you don't have to tell them any. Like, if you're comfortable, if you're the person that's okay with just pouring your heart out in front of, a complete and total stranger, I know a lot of people are, and that's totally fine. But if you're somebody who wants to protect yourself from like being burnt out and jaded and like feeling negative about all these things and trying to keep your head above water, I mean, you don't have to give in to like the pressure of talking to somebody.
I'm going to pat myself on the back for this because from those perspectives that we just mentioned, there's another perspective that I'd like to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Where, I remember I went to a friend's, he was making, what's it called? He's making a CM.
Yeah.
That's why I was going. Because otherwise, why the hell am I going to Queens? Right? I'm not there to go to talk about shidduchim.
Yeah.
I went there. I went for the CM. I had a good time. Fine.
Yeah.
And then the person's sister was there. She's married with kids, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then, I don't know, she inquired afterwards through her brother, who's my friend, right? She may know someone. Can you send me your shidduch resume? At 99.9% of people will send that, except me.
Oh.
And I'm like, no.
Number
one, I don't have a shidduch resume. I do
true.
now, by the way.
Now you do, and it's great.
It looks amazing.
It's
I'm
great.
not telling you, it's so much better than the same crap, whatever. It's only because I want to get into adopt a shotgun of that.
Because Lisa
Whatever.
is amazing.
Lisa's awesome. Right.
Yeah.
But anyways, I said no. And she there was a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, why'd you say no?
I told my friend, I'm like, first of all, you know who I am. If you want to describe me, just tell her. But like, I'm not sending a stupid resume.
Okay.
Why did I say no?
Yeah.
Because it accomplishes nothing. What they do is give me your resume. Mm-hmm. They take it, do nothing with it, and then you're sitting there wondering,
It's
oh my gosh.
mind game.
Oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
why aren't they sending me anybody? Because it doesn't do anything for anybody.
Right.
That's my personal opinion.
No, that's a good point.
So another strategy that I personally use, I don't know if I can call it strategy, but you could take it what it is. Someone asks for that, I say no. I don't give resumes. And so like if someone is continuing to like bombard me on like, I really have a good idea for you,
Yeah.
there are always other avenues to do it. And if they're willing to play ball with you, then it's a legitimate, someone has a real idea, whatever it is. But I'm telling you, the people that are just kicking tires and just, I have another term for it, but again, I'll be clean. But it's really hard to damn it. It's so annoying.
You're doing great though, Max.
Thank you. How great am I?
Comment
below.
I appreciate it.
All right. Yeah. It feels so bad. It sucks. I'm just so tired of you saying, Max, you got to cut that out. I'm like, I just want less work from me. But for people
that is a good pointer though.
People who aren't actually serious about setting you up, but they think they are, and they ask you for a resume and they ask you for this. And if you actually push back on it, they're not used to it, number one. And then you're essentially calling them out.
Right.
That they're an idiot. They don't know what they're doing. They're creating false promises. Like a single person wants to get married. You're telling them like, I may have some, and then they just like drop the ball.
It's kind of like dangling a carrot a little bit. I feel like I felt a lot like that when I was dating, is like people know what I want. And so they're just like, it's almost, I don't know if it's like empty promises, but it's like,
it's a false hope.
Yeah, it's kind of like a false hope.
Because like they ask you for a resume.
Right.
Let's say you send it to them. Now you're thinking like they're working on your behalf. It's like, no, they must have had someone in mind now. And now you're like on the edge of your seat. And I don't buy into this crap.
Right.
And so how many times has this happened where I'll get around it and I'm like, I'm not sending you anything. go screw yourself. I literally like,
Right. I understand what you're saying.
And I'm just saying, like, you have someone, really? Mm-hmm. That's what's in my mind. I just don't take this garbage anymore.
Right.
Just sick and tired of it.
So I feel like it's important to set up
It's a boundary, but
right.
most don't. I'd say I do hope that people do kind of just listen to what I'm saying and do with it what you want to do if you want to continue to do it the way. But I do like this approach of it. I just think it's a healthier approach to dating, because dating is not easy, and anything that can eliminate at least some of the burden, I think, is beneficial. But because I see it all the time, and people ask for resumes all the time, and it just bothers me.
You wanna definitely protect yourself, and it doesn't come easy. Like, it really doesn't come easy.
Nothing's
because
easy.
For what means to protect myself is different from how you protect yourself. So it's very difficult to come to that solution. But I feel like that's a way to at least protect yourself from getting burnout maybe a little bit too soon, or being, jaded a little bit in dating, because I know for sure everybody feels this way.
You also up your quality, meaning you're not just being sent some random idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. I understand what you're saying.
I remember when they kept pushing me for, like, I understand, like, this is how the system works. You need a resume. And then my response to that was, and I remember my friend getting under my skin. They're like, this is how just the system works, whatever. So I told him, like, I never asked for this. I never asked your sister to set me up.
Right.
I went to your freaking CM because I wanted to go to your CM.
Was he, like, pressuring you? Like,
yes.
Oh, you're not going to get married if you don't send her the resume?
I don't even listen to that crap.
No, whatever. But, like, is that, like, what he was saying?
I don't
don't
think
you want to get married?
Well, that part, definitely. He's like, well, this is how the system works. And, like, this is, you're just going to have to play ball. But then I pushed back heavily and said, I never asked your sister to set me up.
Right.
I never asked for that.
Right.
I don't need it.
Right.
I just don't want it. Mm-hmm. The fact that you're asking me for something, why do I have to give you anything? If I don't want to be set up, then that's my thing.
Right.
That's not your problem.
Right.
So get out of my face.
Yeah.
Later on, he's like, you're right.
Yeah. No, because it's true. It's like, what do you owe him?
I don't owe him anything.
You don't owe him anything. So, like, what does it matter to him?
So let people get mad.
No?
Yeah. Let people get mad all they want. They can get mad all they want. You know how many people get mad at me?
It's just so
for this
funny
stuff?
because it's, like, not even about him. It's about you. You
but
know what I mean? And they
what,
make it about them.
I feel like being in sales for so long, and I'm sorry, I'm really good at sales. But
apparently
just that
me
plug,
too.
I feel like you could be good at sales. Like, have you tried selling anything?
No.
Whatever. I think you'll be very good at sales. Well, I sold this match. This is good.
I mean, I worked at a leather shop.
That's so fascinating. I have to ask more about that later. But it people just go with the flow, and they just they're not attacking life. They're letting themselves get eaten by the outside world, and there's no, like,
just because,
no self-respect.
Right. Just because it's technically how things are doesn't mean it has to be for you.
I've always said, if multiple amounts of people got up and said, like, especially my favorite is when you ask the waist size thing. That is never an okay thing to say. So in my mind, like, but people continue to say it. Why? Because there's no repercussions for it. The way I handle things, I feel like it's a very, like, kind of gangster way of kind of taking things into your own hands, is ask that really inappropriate question. It's like, so tell me what your son's size of this is, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Meaning, because I feel like it's an interesting way to look at it, but you're essentially smacking them back in the face and saying, if you're going to ask me such a stupid and inappropriate question, I'm going to ask you that too. And in their mind, they're like, yeah, like I shouldn't have asked that. And they feel it by saying, like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to answer that.
Right.
Like, they're just going to do it again.
Right.
And
I feel like it's kind of, you can gain control over the things that really bother you, and you can gain control over what information you give out, and, like, gain control of yourself. And in return, you can kind of, like, reflect on that and be able to come out more of a better person in terms of, like, what you're looking for, and in terms of you being just okay with how you are, because you don't let like I said, these peripheral things really just get in the way, and then you feel like you're trying to please all these people, you're trying to do the right things, and I'm sure, and everybody is
Except me.
you're doing the right thing,
Because I genuinely don't care about.
no, but
like,
I'm saying like people that try to do the right thing, which is like whatever you think it is, it's kind of like you have to write your own narrative of what the right thing is for you.
I'm going to be harsh here also with these people that, well, they have good intentions. That in my, like, I read this book about onus devarim all the time.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what your intentions are, it's still onus devarim. And what I mean by that is, you know, you can cut, let's say, you know, I was learning today, it's like someone's a music teacher, someone's raking their leaves.
Mm-hmm.
He's a music teacher. He's got a PhD, I don't know, whatever. He's got a master's degree in music, teaches music at the high school, and sometimes he'll teach, you know, a couple of yeshiva guys, you know, after school, whatever it is. And then his neighbor comes over. His neighbor has all the good intentions in the world, thinks he's like, you know, being friendly with the person. And they go over and say like, oh, what do you do? He's like, I'm a music teacher. He's like, oh, you know what they say, if you can't do, teach, right? Whatever. And so like, your intention really was not to insult anybody,
Right.
whatever. Your intention was to really just kind of be friendly with them and whatever. That doesn't take away from the fact that you just insulted someone and you
Right.
pissed somebody off.
Right.
I think people need to be more accountable in the singles world, where it's almost like everyone just saying, like, everyone thinks that they're doing good, but they're not, which is kind of why this podcast exists, to call us crap out. They think just like, they just don't think twice about, they still have no idea they're doing anything wrong because no one's calling them out on it, you know?
Right.
But again, like, you just see a single person, you're just like treated like meat.
Right.
So I guess, yeah, the one thing I'm saying is that try to take control of your own life and don't let people push you around.
Right. Yeah, I think that will definitely help. Max, what do you do for fun?
Are you, you know, because on my shidduch resume, I like, what do I do for fun? What I do for fun is doing a shidduch podcast.
Right. No, but you also do like woodworking.
I do woodworking, yeah.
I'm only asking you because I feel like that's like taking control of your life. Like, you have an outlet, and like you do your woodworking, and we do the podcast, and like you make sure that you have an outlet and that you let yourself be happy. I think that's important.
It comes with having a really good therapist. I've been through
Yeah.
a lot of crappy ones, and I've had some good ones. Right now, I have a really good one.
I know you.
And I'm very
Is
happy.
she back?
No, I'll see her next week.
Oh, okay.
She was in like the, I don't know, porn scene something. I don't know.
She was what?
No, I meant port. Gosh, Sarah.
I thought she was pregnant. Like, she had a baby.
Yeah, like 100 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I first got there, the first thing she asked me, she's like, and that was the first thing she tells me, she's like, by the way, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, it wasn't me. It's like the first thing she says.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
But anyways, my focus is really just growth for myself. And yeah, trust me, it sucks. Like, yeah, you're on your own kind of, in a way. Yes, do it. Everyone could wish they're married, but guess what? In reality, you're not right now. Unfortunately, it will happen hopefully one day.
Yeah.
But
Keep
ultimately,
yourself happy. Do things that make you happy. Somebody told me that, I'm so sorry. What were you going to say, Max? Ultimately, what?
I was saying ultimately, you know, it's not in your hands. You can only do what you can do. And if you're doing everything you can do, then that's all you can ask of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry.
I totally
Keep going.
agree. I was going to say, I was speaking to somebody, and she told me that she wanted to be a nurse, and I said, oh my God, amazing, you should definitely do it. And she's like, but I'm in shidduchim. And I said,
Uh-oh.
what does one have to do with another? And I said, is being a nurse gonna make you happy? And she said yes. And she was like, I want to be a NICU nurse. And I said, oh my God, you should totally do it. And she told me that because she had to focus on dating, and because she had to focus on like shadchans and like meetings and meeting people and like dating, she couldn't commit to being a nurse, and she couldn't commit to nursing school. And I told her that was not
In your mind,
it wasn't an excuse.
In your mind, you were telling me like that's one of the dumbest things I've ever.
Honestly,
that's basically what you're trying to say.
I told her, I was like, that's kind of the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I mean, she did get married very young, and to this day, do I think that she regrets it? Not regrets getting married, but like she does tell me when she sees me, she's like, you know,
she's like one of your friends from growing up or something?
Yeah,
or?
From growing up. Mm-hmm.
What is she's not a nurse now?
No, she's not a nurse now because she sacrificed something that made her happy for shidduchim.
And today, you feel like she still misses out on that?
She tells me she does. So like live your life.
Right there.
Live your life and just be happy for yourself. Don't let anybody else dictate what makes you happy. Don't let anybody else try to bully you into, you know, feeling a certain way and trying to navigate your life, because you're the only thing that you're in control of is yourself and your life, and don't let anybody else tell you anything.
I just wish like were you ever there when I don't know if you were, but like anytime at a kiddish or anytime where someone random comes out to me and they ask me what I'm looking for, and I just tell them I'm not looking for anybody. And they're just like, look on their face is just like, they look like a deer in the headlights. Like no one's ever spoken to them that way before, or what the hell does this guy mean? Is this guy gay now? Like, what does that mean? I'm like, no, I just don't. It's not like I'm not actually looking for someone. I'm not going to answer your
Right,
because I know what's going to happen.
You're controlling your narrative. You're controlling who you say, what you say to. Like, you know, who you say it to.
I'm not going down this road with some schmuck guy. Like I don't even know who they are.
Do you feel though like protecting yourself in some way, that you do feel like you do have some burnout, I'm sure, but like do you feel a little bit better with rejection and not dating as much? Like let's say there's been like 3 months and like do you feel better?
I do generally feel so I've actually been doing, I don't just speak it, but I don't just preach it, but do it. So like instead of just going out, you know, like for me, like I don't want to say like how many times I can go out, because I feel like people just get pissed off at me and be like, well, what a prick, whatever. But like those dates typically are terrible.
Okay.
And so like I would be a lot more selective. And so like recently when I went out with that girl, the date was so much better. The date was just a much higher quality. It ended abruptly over something. Again, it's not in my control.
Right,
it's not in my control. It's annoying, but it's not in my control. But I do think like even if I go on, you know, let's say another 6 months, easier said than done, let's say without going out with someone or whatever it is, I can still feel proud of the fact that I know I'm growing in other areas where you're still can look back and say like, okay, like I gained something from that. And I do overall think it's a way better way of dating than just whatever scattering and just I have seen a difference. To say like it's not lonely sometimes, it's like you're an idiot. Like of course it's
lonely, and of course you feel horrible at some points.
But I do think like this is the best way to go. There's no question.
Yeah, and we're not saying like obviously you're justified in like feeling how you feel through it. We're just trying to help you guys, you know, talk about how you feel and like how you can maybe like help yourself out of certain situations. I
just hope like people just taking like, I feel like people are getting walked over all the time, like, and they just allow it to happen, and they feel like they have no other choice, right? But I hope
and
like
it's so sad to hear. It's like it really is like it's like heart-wrenching when people are when people are just like, I'm doing everything and like what's wrong with me, and like I'm so burnt out, and like I just don't know what to do. I'm gonna be, you know, I'm this age, or like I do this and like nobody wants me. It's like, oh, it's so hard to hear because you know how amazing this person is and they're just not seeing it in the moment.
Yeah, to say like I don't have those thoughts either is, you know, we all do.
I mean, I had those exact thoughts when I was going through it too.
But I do think you can limit that by just taking the steps and just, I'm telling you, especially women, they just get walked on like you've never seen before. It's just horrible.
I've seen it. I've lived it. But
I guess it's a figure of expression, but yeah, I guess you know exactly what I mean.
Guys get walked on different ways, and like girls get walked over. God, they get walked all over in other ways. So
and I just want to show like there is another way out. There's
Yeah.
another way. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Max, for sharing your thoughts. I hope a lot of people listen to this and it resonates with some people that are going through a hard time. Not everything is peaches and cream, and we know that.
That's another great line from you. People have asked
Peaches
like,
and cream?
Peaches and
I
cream.
feel like people it was a song.
That sounds really good right now, by the way. I am starving. And-
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, thank you for listening. Please like us, subscribe us, follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram page is at Good for Shidduchim. Instagram page. Handle?
yeah, handle whatever.
Sure. At Good for Shidduchim, and email us as well, goodforshidduchim@gmail.com.
Correct.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Yes, and of course, in order to grow this podcast, word of mouth is definitely great. If you know of someone that you feel that can really benefit, feel free to send it to them. Feel free to send them the episode.
Yeah.
We'd really appreciate it. And again, we appreciate all the supporters out there so far. And until next time, we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
And remember, everything will always be about shidduchim. Catch you in the next episode.